Hello!
Hello! Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. We hope you're having a great morning so far.
We do.
My name is Chris. I'm the Communications Director, a very posh title. That is what I do here. I just faff around the internet and make videos and that sort of thing. And this is the wonderful Alex.
Not very much.
What do you do here, Alex?
That's a good question. I am the student minister here at Andover Baptist Church.
Brilliant. Love it.
Your glasses are a bit steamed up.
Yeah, they do that. So I have to get through the fog up for anyone. I mean,
You're not
I
even
can't.
wearing a mask.
I know. So I have my mask on. And then I had my glasses like here. Anyone that,
I don't know
So
this.
then I put my glasses on and they have to acclimatise to being on my face. So I have to go through a little bit of
The
like...
temperature's very different close up.
It's very warm just here.
You probably can't see it on the screen anyway.
But when they get used to my warmth of my face, then they go all right.
Very good.
So, yes.
Don't know if that's a problem, anyone.
No, yes, absolutely. If you have glasses troubles, let me know. I've got these great things. I'm just going to go on about this now. I've got these great things on the back of my glasses.
I've noticed these, I've meant to ask
It looks
you.
a little bit like a hearing aid. I'm going to put it over here so people can see. Basically, it's a little rubber bit that you put on the back because when we used to do these live streams like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, my glasses would always slide off my nose. Yes.
You've got very
And
angled face.
I guess so. And I used to have to push them up my nose all of the time. It
That
used
does
to be
look
like a
snazzy.
twitch. But yeah, now they just stay on my head, which is great.
Great, that's a life hack.
It is a life hack, but I mean, they're a thing. They're like
There's
a product.
no way around the mask glasses thing, is there? 'Cause
No,
all
there
those
really isn't.
surgeons I know wear glasses and masks and don't steam
they've
up.
probably got some sort of method, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
should we talk about what's going on
We
today?
should talk about what's going on today. Anyway, we are genuinely honoured that you
Yes.
decided to spend some time with us.
Thank
It's
you so
really
much.
great. We got some great stuff coming up in the service today.
We do.
Part 2 of our
Ta-da.
The Next Chapter, our current series that we're doing at the moment, which is very exciting. Alex will be doing our talk, which is super exciting. We've got some live worship coming up from next door.
Just some songs.
Yeah, brilliant. So you can sing loud and proud at home, wherever you might be, in your kitchen or your lounge or even your garden.
Might even have it in you might be doing something and
exactly.
listening to it on your phone or
Might be
whatever.
on a train or on a
Yeah,
bus. Let us
never
know
know.
where you are. That'd be great. But yeah,
Depending on where you are.
Yeah, depending on where you are. If you're like operating a crane or something,
Yeah,
maybe don't.
be safe. Stay safe,
Be
whatever
safe,
you're doing.
people. But what else we got? There's a little slot called This Week at ABC talking about
Yes,
our
that
community.
you're doing. Yep.
I'll do that a bit later. And then after the talk and after some more songs, towards the end, me and Alex are going to talk about the subject that we're exploring today a little bit more. We're going to ask Alex some questions, hopefully some really tough ones.
Yes.
If you have any questions that come up during the service, please do pop them in the live chat, and we'll try our best to talk about them later on.
Yes.
Which would be great. And then we'll share some next steps
Yes.
that people can take on their spiritual journey.
Yeah.
So this is the right time to suggest, there is a button underneath this video, a subscribe button. If it is red, please consider clicking it, because it means
We still need a grey one.
we need
I say
to do
this
the
every
grey back
time.
bit. If you're out there and you have some skills,
So we just need a grey one.
we need a grey back to it. So because if it's grey, imagine this is grey. If it's grey, don't click it, because then you'll unsubscribe. But
Do
yes,
there's better colours? I think there's better colours than red and grey.
red and grey. I don't know.
Because I like red, so I'd like my
strong
button to be
colours.
red.
Well, no, yeah. Well,
Whereas
that is
you
true.
can't have it red, is what I meant.
That is true.
I wonder if YouTube
But I
or
mean,
Google
red
done.
is to get your attention, isn't it?
But
so
then
that
I
you
think it
will
means
click
like,
it.
oh yeah.
So you're like, click this button, and then once you've clicked it, it's like, no, don't click this button.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'd love you to subscribe. Or there's a thumbs up underneath the video. Tick that if you're liking this. Maybe you like it already. There's a share button, so you can share it with all your friends on social media.
Yep.
And there's a little bell icon, which if you click that, you'll start getting notifications
Yes.
about when we start going live or
That's really
upload
good,
new
actually.
videos.
That's really helpful. Because I don't know about you, but I have loads of subscribed to quite a lot on YouTube, and then it's just crazy to find stuff that you need. So that's a very good idea.
Exactly. So, Alex, what have you been up to this week?
That's a good question, isn't it? This week, I don't know, actually. It's been quite a busy week, but we've had our kind of like all-in webinar workshop, didn't we? Like a
absolutely, yeah.
membership sort of workshop this week. So that was kind of a big event of this week. I don't know
that
if we
was
should
great.
talk a bit more about that, because
Yeah, absolutely.
That
It was
was
really
awesome.
good. Basically, if you want to partner with us as a church,
Yep.
we do have this thing called church membership, and we're kind of doing a bit of a reset at the moment, aren't we?
Yes.
We're asking people to
with
either
the next chapter stuff as
the
well.
next chapter. So yeah, if you want to find out more about that, get in touch with us. We'll send you a link. There's a sign up on our calendar. I think
Yes.
there's a calendar date that's the 4th of March. If you go to that, you can sign up, and we'll send you the link.
to watch it on YouTube.
To watch it anytime on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then there's a form so you can actually sign up to become a member.
Yes.
If you want to do that. So
and it's good, isn't it? It's just about what being part of our. I mean, everyone is part of our community.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be a member at all.
Completely.
But it's just about if you want to kind of go a little bit deep, take that next step and kind of partner with us.
Yeah.
It's about what that's all about and what it means for us as a community, and it's actually really exciting, isn't it?
It is really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for anyone watching or listening who's already attended that or watched it online. Thanks so much. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And I didn't ask you. What about your week? What's your week been like?
Golly.
You have tiny humans. So.
I have tiny humans, so the week kind of just blurs into playing with dolls and building things with Lego, and it's very exciting.
The Lego's just you.
Yeah, the Lego's just me.
you.
I'm like, girls, leave me alone. I'm playing with Lego. I don't. To be honest, it's been one of those weeks. It's just been a bit of a blur.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure many people can sympathise with.
I know. I usually go out for a walk each week. This is true, actually.
Okay, nice.
But because we were talking earlier, weren't we, about walking and stuff? Because our challenge this week is about stepping out. But I've had quite a busy week and I haven't gone out for a walk. Played some hockey. Had some game. I had a game yesterday, which was awesome. But no walk, and I like my walk. I'll
tell you what's happened a lot this week. My wife really, really, really loves like Olympics.
Oh
Winter
yes,
Olympics.
the Olympics have been on. How can we not talk about that?
So Christina, my wife, she's proper hooked on the Winter Olympics.
Does she know all the because there's a lot of rules and techniques.
she's all about that.
I love that.
She absolutely loves it. But I feel like you should do some sort of ski, sort of shoot things.
Yes, biathlon, Nordic skiing. Yes,
that is very cool.
Yes.
So tell us more.
Well, yeah, I think it's on the Winter Olympics at the moment. So like the biathlon, I used to do it when I was in the army.
Biathlon?
Biathlon.
Oh, biathlon, not just get in a bath.
A biathlon. A biathlon.
Yeah. How long can you stay in the bath?
Yeah, so it's like it's the kind of skiing that is probably the least enjoyable because you ski uphill as well as downhill.
Okay.
And then this one you have a little kind of rifle on your back and there's a range and you shoot some targets.
That is so cool.
Which is very hard after doing some arduous exercise.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like sprinting and then trying to
right. Wow.
But yeah, so I was really fortunate to do that whilst I was in the army, and I loved
Amazing.
it. Did a couple of seasons of that, and
so cool.
so I love watching it on TV. It's so cool.
Okay, nice, brilliant.
And they have really, really skinny skis, don't they? And their heels aren't in the ski.
Wow. There you go, people.
They are free.
I did not know that. If you are also loving the Winter Olympics, let us know in the live chat. I'm going to open the live chat and see who's on there. But yeah, let us know on the old live chat if you are also a Winter Olympic.
Yes.
I was talking to somebody this week and they love the curling.
Yeah, I was just thinking of curling.
Yeah, they especially love the curling where you sort of...
Yeah.
I also saw a video on social media of beavers curling.
Oh, I love
and they
that.
sort of push it out and then they sit on it. And it just
I love
goes.
that. Do one of them have the little
Yeah, some of them had the little things and
buffer or whatever it is.
Whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called.
I would love to try it, but I think I would trip over and ruin the whole thing. Just get completely in the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but it is quite cool, isn't it?
It's very cool.
The tactics behind it are pretty interesting, actually.
Definitely. So Sebastian, hello. How are we doing,
Great.
Carl? Good morning, Kevin.
Great to have you all with us.
Ray and Cherry, Debs. Who else we got on there? Debbie, Brian,
Awesome.
Marion.
Loads of people.
Loads of people this morning.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes.
Very exciting, very exciting. So yeah.
So back to walking.
Back to walking. So we had our social media challenge this week that I'll come back to in the This Week at ABC slot. Do you have like a favourite walk? So you mentioned you normally go out for a walk. Is it like the normal?
I am very fortunate to live quite near to some nice sort of like woods and stuff and
cool.
countryside, so I can walk like from my house. And yeah, I love doing that. Even if it's a short walk, it's just so nice to clear my mind and get out.
Yeah,
and
right. Yeah, especially at the moment where it's all like windy and blustery and sort of pop a bobble hat on and go for a nice brisk walk.
And what about you?
Yeah, so with the girls, we're right next to Anton Lakes.
Oh, yes.
Which is like a nature reserve in Andover.
Nature reserve.
It is properly a nature reserve.
Right.
It's a dedicated nature reserve. She's laughing at me now.
It is really lovely. It's
Back me up, people of
Andover.
Andover.
I didn't know it was a nature reserve.
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They can't touch it.
There's some otters, right?
There is otters. There's kingfishers.
Wow.
You should check it out. If you've never been to
So it's
Anton
a place
Lakes,
that's
check it out.
reserved for nature.
Reserved. She's just taking the mic now.
No, it sounds great.
It is great. But
It
there's
is
also
great, actually.
there's also a walk out near Smannel, if you know Andover. There's like a woods, there's like a copse of trees
Yeah.
It's very cool, very good walk. We like that a lot.
I've never been out there actually.
Like den building and all that sort of thing. So yeah, very exciting, very exciting. Wow, we've really talked for a long time. We've got like 10 seconds left. So
I was going to say that walking is the one way I love to encounter God. And that would
boom.
link into the talk today, but
we are now in a very shortly going to hand over to Rob in the main hall for the start of the service.
Bye.
Good morning. Hello and welcome to Andover Baptist Church. My name is Rob. I am one of the ministers here. And if this is your first time with us, a special welcome to you. I've seen a number of new people this morning and it's been great to meet you and to chat to you. If you want to find out anything about the church, please come and have a chat to me afterwards. I would love to meet you if I haven't met you already. It's just fantastic. And if you are a regular here, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. This is a nice crowd to look out upon. And if you're joining us online, really, really warm welcome to you. Hopefully you've got a mug of tea and maybe a duvet and you're watching on the couch. I don't know. But we've got a great service lined up for you wherever you are, wherever you're watching from. We've got a fantastic band going to be led by Andy just now, and they're going to help us to sing some songs of worship, which is going to be fantastic. We've got all kinds of announcements that are going to come out in the next slot about some really great stuff coming up in the next days and weeks. And we've got Alex sharing with us a little bit later as well as we continue our series on the next chapter of our life together as a church. So there's lots to look forward to. But for now, I'm going to hand over to the guys in the studio, and they're going to give us a little insight into a whole bunch of stuff that's happening this week at ABC. Over to the studio.
Hello, how are we doing? My name is Chris. I'm the comms guy here at the church. It's my genuine pleasure to bring you this week at ABC. So, last week we set a challenge. Sometimes we set these social media challenges. And this week we had one called Stepping Out, all about a really great hike or walk or trek or trip that you took that you really loved in the great outdoors. We had some great submissions this week, and I'm going to try and rifle through them this morning. So who have we got? Well, that's the wrong way. I still haven't got this, have I? So who's this? This is Sean, I think, and Luke. Look, I think that's Everest. I'm pretty sure that back there is Everest. I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that's Everest. Who else we got down here? I think this is Liz and family. Some sort of lake district, I'm going to say. Sharon and her family love walking along the beach. They've just moved to closer to the beach. Love that. Our own Jill and Marina here on some sort of, I think this is a beach here. It looks orangey, sort of sandy colour. Lovely, excellent beach. Love a good beach. Jan and Yvonne, look at this, with some sort of signpost. They did some sort of trek, some sort of dale trekky, hikey, walky thing. Very exciting. What else have we got over here? So we've got, I think this is Kathleen. What is this? This is a high, some sort of mountainy, Lake District-y sort of scenario. What have we got here? Someone up here on a rock. I'm going to come a bit closer. I think that's Marion, I believe, some sort of rock. They're great walkers, the Smiths. They love a good walk. I think this is Sarah and family on some sort of coastal path. Love a good coastal path when you can find one. Now I need to talk about this person. This person here, if you are aware of Chuck Norris, this is Simon Mason. He's a bit like Chuck Norris in that, he is just an epic, do anything, I'm never afraid of anything, I'm the ultimate conqueror of the world. Simon Mason, if you're out there watching, he's a serious dude. Love him so much. What else we got here? This was a walk. This was some sort of challenge walk for charity. Some sort of Jurassic Park. No, not Jurassic Park. Dinosaurs. Walking on some sort of coast. Dogs. Small, tiny dogs. Albus and Arlo, I think, little doggies. Excellent. Ladders. This one's some sort of love story. There's some sort of love story attached to this ladder. I can't remember what it was. Hannah, I think. Some sort of love ladder up a mountain. Then they got married and stuff and things. There's a duck right here. There's an excellent duck. I think it's a duck, or is it a goose? I can never remember. Anyway, good. Wonderful. Excellent. That is quite enough of that. So that was your epic, amazing, walking, sort of running around, trekking sort of things. Oh yeah, and these people here. Look, I need to talk about these people. These are small humans, and they're bigger human. The nobles. Yes, look at that. Brilliant. So we have a new challenge. I know, back-to-back challenges, people. This is exciting times. So our new challenge is called Love. It's called Big Love, actually. Big Love. So Today, our service is on the theme of encountering God. And the particular Bible verse we're using today, I'm just going to rumble it already, is all about loving God and connecting with God. So this week's challenge is called Big Love. I'm calling it Big Love because God's love is just amazing. It's so much bigger than we can ever imagine. There's so many different types of it and aspects to God's love that, it will take us a lifetime to even scratch the surface of how much God loves us and how he weaves his love for us and other people into our lives. So this week, I'd love it if we could explore loving people, okay, in loads of different ways, because we have, quite a narrow view of love, don't we? But here's the challenge this week, to love people that are all around you, people that you don't normally notice maybe, people who might be on the bus or the train with, people at work that you don't really notice, they're just kind of around you working. How could you love that person? Maybe the person that serves you at the supermarket that you don't really notice or you don't really talk to, but how could you love that person? And it's not about big, buying them flowers and taking them out for a meal. And, how could we show love in a really practical way to people that are all around us that we don't normally acknowledge or show care for? So let's challenge each other to do that this week. Let's show some big love. That would be awesome. So other things that I'm going to talk about. This week we had our all-in workshop, all about membership, church membership, which is really cool. It's a really exciting thing to partner with the church because we can do so much more together. So we had our membership workshop this week on site, but it was also online. Loads of people came and watched online, and it was really great to see so many people wanting to partner with us as a church because we can do so much more for our community and our world when we partner together. So that is really awesome. This is still available. So if you want to partner with the church or find out what partnering with the church looks like, then let us know and we can send you, it's a private YouTube link, we'll send you that link to be able to watch that. Watching it doesn't mean you're automatically a member. If you decide you don't want to at this point, that's absolutely fine. But if you want to, then we'll send you a link to a form and you can sign up to be a church member. And you can find out what you are committing to by doing that, which is really exciting. So we had that this week. What else am I talking about? And lastly, I'm talking about Alpha. So Alpha is a great thing for understanding a little bit more about the Christian faith, wanting to find out a little bit more about God and maybe following him. And we run a course. It's starting in March. It's really great. You're going to find out more about it later on in the service. So if Alpha sounds good to you, keep old listening, keep those ears old listening. And that'll be great. So I'm now going to hand over to Andy and our live band next door.
Thanks, Chris, and good morning to you all. It's really good to be here with you this morning. First thing I need to say is if you've got a Toyota, and I wasn't expecting to start with this, and it's got an 18 plate on it, you might want to slip out during the first song because your windows are open and it's raining and the lights are on. So, but other than that, it's great to be here with you this morning. We're going to start with some songs of worship. And if you've been watching the rugby or the football over the last few days and you've heard the crowd singing their hearts out because they're passionate about what they're there for, and that's why we're here today. So let's stand together as we sing about our amazing God with some of that passion, singing our hearts out about how great he is. those wounds yet visible above, in beauty glorified, His glories now we'll sing, who died and rose on high, who died eternal life to bring and live that death may die. Majesty, Lord of all, let every throne before Him fall. The King of Kings, oh come adore our God who reigns forevermore. For our God who reigns forevermore. Our God who reigns forevermore. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. Let's sing that again together. My hope is built. My hope is built on nothing less
than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly trust in Jesus' name.
in Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. When darkness seems to hide His face, I rest on His unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. My anchor holds within the veil. In Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. And through the storm, He's Lord, Lord of when He shall come with trumpet sound. Oh, may I then in Him be found, dressed in his righteousness alone. Faultless I stand before the throne. Let's just reflect on those words for a few minutes. Lord, we thank you that you are Lord of all. You are the cornerstone of this church, of our faith, of everything we stand and live for. Lord, we love you. We love to be here in your presence, and just pray that you will continue to minister to us this morning. Amen.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's so great to have you all here. Whether you're joining us on site or online, you're so welcome. My name is Alex, and I'm the student minister here at Andover Baptist Church. And it is a real privilege to be speaking to you all today and continuing this series all about the next chapter that we feel God is writing for our church community. And we're really excited about that here at ABC. So last week, Chris kicked off this series, and he spoke about how we can follow Jesus more closely by knowing God, by living as Jesus lived, and by loving others. And today, I'm going to be looking at how we can encounter God more deeply and more regularly. Life is busy, isn't it? I imagine for most of us that is the case. It is busy and it can be full of distractions. For many of us, our daily routines are at the mercy of various timetables and schedules that are often packed to the brim. Nowadays, it's even common that people have to actually schedule in downtime or perhaps time with family. Otherwise, it just doesn't happen. Maybe you're like me. I'm always setting reminders on my phone of things that I need to do in the future. And sometimes, I often actually get quite annoyed because these are constantly going off at me throughout the day and nagging at me. But if I didn't have them, I probably would forget to do those things. And it can be difficult, can't it, to spend a focused amount of time doing anything when our phones and devices are constantly going off, notifying us of their activity as if it's more important than whatever we might be doing at that moment in time. But the truth is that we have probably become quite reliant on all of these sort of systems and structures and apps, haven't we? Actually, if life is busy as it is for most of us, we need them, don't we, to kind of organize our times. We need those schedules, otherwise life would just be chaotic, and that would be even worse. I wonder how many of you here listening or watching, joining us today, rely on things like calendars, scheduling apps, and various systems. Maybe you even have multiple calendars that run your life. I'll be honest, I do like a bit of organization, so I am grateful to some of these systems. But I can actually spend unnecessary amounts of time on things like organizing my emails and filing things and updating my calendar, rewriting my to-do list. I like to have all of that neat and organized as well. But actually, I do this so much so that I can easily forget the point of what all these things are for. I forget that actually these systems are there to help me enjoy my life. They're there to help me create some order and to get more out of my time by that order and structure. And there's clearly a need, isn't there, for some routine and structure in our lives. These are good things. But I wonder if sometimes these things can get in the way of what's actually important. I wonder if maybe the rules or routines that we live our lives by can be a distraction in themselves. And also, with these kind of busy, scheduled lives, it can become incredibly easy to just schedule something into our diary without really thinking about its value. And I think with this approach, we can easily become very task-orientated. In fact, society encourages us to do that. Everything becomes an activity for us in our lives. Anything from doing a piece of work, maybe attending a business meeting, to meeting up with a family member or a friend. Even our faith can become an activity. Something we've scheduled in for an hour or so on a Sunday morning, perhaps an evening in the week, or maybe a few minutes each day. You know, 2,000 years ago when Jesus walked the earth, things were not all that different, probably because human nature is not all that different. Yes, they may not have had all the technology that we have today. The pace of life was undoubtedly a bit slower. They didn't have all these various apps and calendars and systems and schedules running their lives. But they still had to abide by various rules and routines and systems, actually, especially when it came to faith and religion. Jesus lived as a Jewish man. He grew up in a Jewish society at a time when the Roman Empire occupied many nations, including his homeland. There were various sort of competing systems of rules and regulations between the Roman authorities and the sort of Jewish puppet leaders under Roman governance. And also there was the Jewish religious leaders who had immense authority over their people. And there was this very prominent and powerful group of religious leaders at the time called the Pharisees. And actually, they were known to be real sticklers for the rules. For them, their faith was about keeping God's commands and abiding by religious law. And their law was particularly strict. Not only did they uphold the 613 commands that are found in their scriptures, the Hebrew scriptures, which is largely the Old Testament part of the Bible that we have today, but they actually added more. In fact, they added hundreds of more commands and rules to their system of faith. I think if you could have seen the sort of weekly schedule of a Pharisee, it would have been completely full of various religious activities, rituals, and routines. And interestingly, it's this very group of people that Jesus has various run-ins with during his time on earth. Because Jesus was not all about the rules. He cared about relationship. He cared about how people treated each other, and he cared about their relationship with God. And actually, this made the Pharisees incredibly angry with him on various occasions. And even though Jesus was the Son of God, he was God in human flesh who came down to earth to live amongst us. This group of religious leaders, so many of them just would not believe that to be the truth. The very God they claimed to worship stood right before them, and they didn't believe it. Because how could they believe in a God that would be so complacent about things like rules and regulations? How could they believe in a God that would be so dismissive of their busy sort of schedules of religious activities? And on various occasions throughout Jesus' adult life, this group of leaders, the Pharisees, they often tried to kind of confront Jesus and outsmart him, either intellectually or kind of religiously, so to speak. They actually weren't the only group of people who did this. There was another quite well-known group at the time, another religious sect called the Sadducees. They also tried to catch Jesus out, and they would ask him various sort of questions about religion and how to live life and stuff to do with the Jewish faith. And there's this one occasion that I want to talk about today. And it's a tough day for Jesus because on this particular occasion, on this day, Jesus has been teaching to crowds and crowds of people. It's probably quite exhausting in itself. He's already been questioned by a group of Pharisees. He's managed to kind of answer those questions. Then he's grilled by a group of Sadducees who are asking firing all sorts of other questions at him. And he's managed to keep all of that at bay and satisfy their questions. But then this one man approaches Jesus. This man is a Pharisee, but just not any Pharisee. He's actually an expert in religious law. And he decides to put Jesus to the test. So he asks Jesus a question, which is actually meant to be a bit of a trick question. And he asks Jesus this. He says, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" What a question. Because here, this Pharisee is actually trying to outsmart Jesus. The law he is referring to is, in fact, the whole of the Hebrew scriptures here, the Old Testament part of the Bible that we have. So he's referring to those some 600-odd commands that they contain, and I'm sure that man knows incredibly well. It is a difficult question, if not an impossible one to answer, or so he thinks. Because Jesus is not actually caught off guard by this question. And in fact, he has a very wise reply. He replies this to the Pharisee: "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This," he says, "is the first and greatest commandment." And he goes on to say, "And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments." Wow. I think the Pharisee would have been speechless at this moment. Because Jesus does something here that actually no one has ever really done. No religious leader has actually made this connection. Because Jesus is actually quoting their own religious text here. He is quoting the Hebrew scriptures. And out of all of those hundreds of commands, he picks out the most important one, but another one that is intrinsically linked to it. These two, he say, are the most important. And in doing this, Jesus gets to the very heart of what all of the commandments, all that law, the religious kind of rules are all about. They are all about loving God. And the reason that this is the most important command is that if we love God, and this is the connection that Jesus is making, if we love God, then we can also love others and love ourselves properly. It all starts with loving God. Those two commandments, those two rules go hand in hand. And it's actually what the Christian faith is all about. And actually where Jesus says we are to love God with all our heart, our soul, and mind, this just means that we're to love him with all that we are, with everything that we are. And actually in the Jewish worldview, this was a way of saying the whole person. Loving God isn't just an intellectual exercise. In fact, Chris talked about this last week. You know, it isn't just this intellectual sort of exercise. It isn't about rule keeping, as perhaps it may have been for the Pharisees in Jesus' day. It isn't about doing all sorts of various religious activities either. And it wasn't even really about keeping that huge list of commands, because actually no human being is able to keep all of those commands. No one other than Jesus, because he is perfect. But what the commands, what the law all point to is actually that our calling is to love God. To love God and to love others. That's what they're all about. That is their purpose, and that is why they exist. And this is where the Pharisees had completely missed the point. They'd gotten so caught up about rules and rituals that they forgot what the meaning of them was. They didn't make space for God. Jesus is actually saying here that true religion is about loving God. That's where it starts. It's about relationship and not rules. And yes, it's true, isn't it? We do need rules. We need rules to help and protect and cultivate that relationship. We need guidelines and boundaries. And in fact, we have so many amazing guidelines in the Bible and a way to live our life. But we are not to get so distracted by them that we become task-orientated in our faith. It's easy, isn't it, to schedule in activities in our life. It's easy to schedule in religious activities even, and we don't even need to think perhaps what they're all about or what faith is really about. It's easy to go through the motions of whatever routine we might be used to when it comes to our faith. Maybe we go from a Sunday to Sunday without really encountering God or reflecting on what we're doing. Maybe we do things that we know as followers of Jesus we are called to do, but maybe we've forgotten the reason that we do them. During the past 2 years or so, as we've really all had to kind of deal with the crisis of the pandemic and adapt to what that means for us for everyday life, we've had a unique opportunity here as a church community to reflect on what we do and why we do it. And that's what we've been doing as kind of staff and leadership teams here at ABC. And as a result, we decided to do things a little bit differently. We have taken deliberate steps to help people to connect with God and encounter him more deeply and more regularly. And that has been the driving force behind lots of things that we have done during this time. You know, right at the start of the pandemic, when it really affected the UK, we decided early on that we wanted to take our services and what we do as a church online. This was a big step for us. And the reason that we did this is because we don't want there to be any barriers for people who are exploring faith and want to connect with God. And we're passionate about that. And so if you're joining us and connecting with us online today, we are so grateful, because we want to make it as easy and as accessible as possible for people to encounter God. And that is really our heart here. You know, and now we can gather in person, and that is amazing, and we love that. You know, we want to continue to put our resources into connecting and reaching people online, because it goes way beyond a locality and geographical boundaries too. In this time also, we've started to kind of decided to meet more regularly to pray together. And we've had these monthly online prayer gatherings that have been a real source of strength to us during this time. And they've actually helped to bring us closer to God as a community, which has been amazing. And other ways we wanted to connect with people was also during the week, during the everyday and the ordinary, beyond the Sunday, reflecting on the fact that faith is more than something that we do on a Sunday morning or for a few hours in the week. It's a lifestyle. It's 24/7. It's every day. And we've done that. We have an online Facebook group that we love kind of connecting with each other and encouraging each other in our faith on. But we've also started making daily devotional videos and putting these up online every day. And these have been a great way that we've been able to encourage us all to connect with God each and every day too. And I just wanted to share all of that really just for encouragement, because as I reflected on that this week, I was just amazed at, I think, the way that God has been moving through our community and through all of us during what has been an incredibly difficult time. But I think we have gone deeper in our relationship with God together. And isn't that amazing? And actually, as I reflect on this, routines and patterns and schedules are not bad things, are they? We really need these things. I really rely on them for my life. But we need to remember what their purpose really is, especially when it comes to our faith. If we're scheduling in things that are important, like spending time with God or in connect groups or reading our Bible or praying, we need to remember that it's not about the schedule. It's about that space to be with God and to go deeper in our faith. That's our heart, as I've mentioned here at ABC, is to help each other connect with God and go deeper on that journey. And I have been so encouraged to see just the ways that people have wanted to reach out and connect during this time. And if ultimately our faith is about loving God, then there's a hard truth in there, that you can't love what you don't know. You can't love what you don't know. So we need to take the time, don't we, to get to know God so that we can really love him. We need to make space in our lives for God. We need to make room for God so that we can encounter him. We can get to know this amazing God who created this universe, who made each of us. The amazing God who loves us more than we could ever imagine. And who loves us so much that he stepped down into the mess of this world as a human being, as his son Jesus, so that we could get to know him even more deeply. That is also the reason that we do gather together on a Sunday, isn't it? It's not because that's the only way to encounter God, but it is an amazing way we can encounter God together. It's why we sing and we pray and we hear God's word. But the desire behind that is that we then take that into each day of our life. It encourages us to pursue God and to connect with him every single day. And it's my prayer for us, I think, as a church, that we just each in our heart desire that connection with God, desire that relationship with God. And I know that God is always there. He wants to be in our lives. He wants that deep relationship with us. So it's not all down to us, because he pursues us too. And he is there, and he wants that deep and intimate relationship with us. So ultimately, it's about knowing God, because we can't love what we don't know. And if we know God and if we love God, then we're able to love others and love ourselves. And I think the world will be a much better place for it. Let's pray. Loving God, we just thank you for who you are. Maybe for some of us here today or connecting with us, we're not really sure who you are. But we thank you, Lord, that there are so many ways that we can encounter you and get to know you. There are so many ways that we can just see you at work in the world around us, through your creation, in our relationships with others, and most importantly, Lord, through a relationship with Jesus. So just pray, Lord, you open our hearts now as we have a time to worship you, that we would make space and make room for you in our hearts and in our lives. Amen.
This is my surrender. This is my surrender. Here is where I lay it down, every burden and every doubt. This is my surrender, and I will make room for you to do whatever you want to, do whatever you want to, and I will make room for you to do whatever you want to, do whatever you want to. Where I lay it down, every burden, every crown. This is my surrender. This is my surrender. Here is where I lay it down, every lie and every doubt. 'Cause this is my surrender, and I will make room for you. Do whatever you want to do whatever you want to, and I will make room for you to do whatever you want to, do whatever you want to, and I will make room for you to do whatever you want to, do whatever you want to, and I will make room for you to do whatever you want to, do whatever you want to. So shake up the ground of all my tradition and break down the walls of all my religion, 'cause your way is better. Your way is better. So shake up the ground of all my tradition and break down the walls of all my religion, 'cause your way is better. 'Cause your way is better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition and break down the walls of all my religion, 'cause your way is better. Your way is better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition and break down the walls of all my religion, 'cause your way is better. Your way is better, and I will make room for you to do whatever you want to, do whatever you want to. Yes, I will make room for you to do whatever you want to, do whatever you want to. my surrender. Here is where I lay it down. You are all I'm chasing now. This is my surrender.
Reflect on and think about what Alex has been sharing. I think the Lord would say to us as a church that He's challenging us as we step forward into the future, as we step forward into new things that He is doing, to slowly, in and of ourselves, adjust ourselves to that. Change is always hard, and we don't like it. And that's one of the reasons why we like to have things just the way they are. You know, like the Pharisees had their traditions and their laws and their rituals and the way things are meant to be done. But sometimes God just wants to do a new thing in your generation. Sometimes God is moving history along. And that's always been the case for His church. His church has always had to respond to the new situation that He has placed them in so that they become relevant in that situation for people who haven't encountered Him yet. And guess who that affects the most? It affects those who are established Christians, those who have been in church for a long time, those who are used to the rituals and the traditions and the way that we do things. And sometimes God says to you, who are the most dedicated, who are the most loyal, who have been here for years, He says, are you willing to sacrifice your traditions and your preferences and your ways and put them aside and make room for me to do what I want to do, because I am doing a new thing? And I just want to gently challenge us all to be open to the work that God is doing in this generation, in this time, and to be so open to that we would be willing to lay aside our preferences and our traditions and our thinking and our ways of life to join Him in what He is doing, to keep the main thing, which is to love God with all our heart and all our soul and all our strength and our mind, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. Not our rituals, not our ways or preferences or ways of doing things, but those that God is doing something for, those who Christ came to sacrifice Himself for. Are we willing to love them by laying down our lives, our preferences, our hopes? Because if we're not, then we can't say that we are following Jesus, because that's exactly what Jesus did. He was a disruptor, and He laid down His life for those that other people did not think were like them. They did not act in religious ways. But those are the very people Jesus came for, to let them know that God isn't about religion, He's about relationship. And if you're here today, and maybe for the whole of your life you have felt like church is about religion, and I've always struggled with it, I don't gel with that, let me tell you, that's church at its worst. Church at its best is a group of people trying to help one another to connect with a God who is infinitely loving and has shown us great mercy in helping us approach Him. So if that's you today and you want to find out how to enter into a relationship with God, not a religious pattern, a relationship with God, it's really simple. Ask Him to come into your life. Ask Him, because of what Jesus has done for you, because Jesus has made a way for you to approach God with your words and say, God, I want you in my life. Just ask Him. Ask Him for forgiveness for all the times that you've walked away. Ask Him to wipe that away and do a new thing in your life, because Jesus came that you might have life to the full. And we want you to know that. We want you to experience that with us. And if you're here and you've been a Christian for many, many years, you might think you already know this. But every single day of our lives, we need to lay down our lives and ask God to do a new thing within us, to change us and to mold us as we follow Him. Let's continue in an atmosphere of worship and sing and praise God, but just listen to what God is saying to us this morning.
Your grace is enough.
More than I need. At your word
Jesus, light the way. By the power of your word, I am restored, I am redeemed. And by your Spirit I am free, and I will fall at your feet. I will fall at your feet, and I will worship you. Freely you gave it all for us, surrendered your life upon that cross. Great is your love, it's poured out for all. This is our God, lifted on high from death to life. Forever our God is glorified. Servants and kings, He rescued the world. This is our God. Freely you gave, freely you gave it all for us. Surrendered your life upon that cross. And great is the love that's poured out for all. This is our God. You're lifted up high from death to life. Forever our God is glorified. Servants and kings, He rescued the world. This is our God. And I will fall at your feet. I will fall at your feet, and I will worship you. Freely you gave it all for us, surrendered your life upon that cross. Great is the love that's poured out for all. This is our God, lifted on high from death to life. Forever our God is glorified. Servants and king, You rescued the world. This is our God. And I will fall at your feet. I will fall at your feet, and I will worship you here. Yes, Lord, we do fall at your feet this morning, and we worship you because you are worthy. You freely gave up so much so that we can be free. No matter who we are, what our backgrounds, that we are free because of you. And we worship you, Lord. And may we go from this place this morning, and may we make room in our lives this week to fall at your feet and to worship you, because you are worthy. We thank you, Lord, and we bless you.
Oops. Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Welcome
back.
Absolutely, welcome back. It's been brilliant, hasn't it? I've absolutely loved it. Just the songs that the band picked for
songs,
today.
I love that song, Make Room, and obviously
Yeah.
that was very appropriate for today and everything, and I love that. Yeah,
Definitely,
Such a good
yeah.
song.
Alex's talk, she would never say it, but it was brilliant. I really thought that was great. Thank you for diving in, everyone on the live chat.
Yeah,
Posted that question about how
we've just been
how
chatting
we-
about them,
yeah,
haven't we? And actually,
yeah.
it's amazing to see all the comment. I'm really inspired, actually. Like, I'm going
Yeah,
to go
definitely.
back and look at them and take some
Yeah.
ideas away, I think.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and this is something that I find great about the Christian faith. It makes it really different to, I think, anything else in the world, is that you can, you progress with God and you learn a bit
Yeah.
and you try something, but there's always more opportunities.
Yeah,
Like,
always.
God can always speak to you in different ways, through different things. Like, it's never just, I know that now, done.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't end. It's always
I
just this
know.
evolving, changing.
And you can come back and do something you've done before, and God might speak to you in a different way through it. You know? And we were loving
completely.
some of the
Yeah,
comments, and we loved Deb's
absolutely.
one about things that happen not by coincidence, but like.
Yeah, it's by almost like chance.
By chance. And
Yeah.
sometimes we say sometimes we don't say it's coincidence, it's a God incident.
Yeah,
but it's like
yeah.
something's like someone's had a little someone's done something to like make that
Yeah,
happen.
absolutely. Yeah, or something. Someone interrupts your day.
Too bizarre to be.
Yeah, it's not in your schedule, but someone interrupts your day,
Yeah.
and through that, actually, you encounter God in that moment. So yeah, thank you so much for chipping in, guys. We're going to share
Yeah,
some more of
thank
those
you,
in a
yeah.
moment. So the point of this next bit of the service really is to root a little bit more around in the theme
Yep,
that Alex
yep.
talked to us about in her talk. Think a little bit about that practically and try and put some more legs on that. If you have any more questions to do with Alex's talk, please pop them in the live chat. We'll try and get round to them, and then share some next
Yes,
steps
I'll have the chat open.
about
Yes.
what where can we go as a result of what we've heard today,
Yeah.
what we've experienced today. Where do we go with that? What's some outlets for that?
As Stephen's on the live chat, it's picked up on the no coincidences.
Hey.
No coincidences. God incidences.
God incidences.
We love a good catchphrase. Is that the word? A good Christian catchphrase.
some sort of motto, tagline.
There's so many out there, aren't
Yeah,
there?
absolutely.
Some are quite cringy, but
Yeah. So yeah, let's crack on.
yes, let's.
So you mentioned you love a little schedule. You love
I love a schedule.
yes.
I do. You know that I like
Yes.
things organised.
True story. Alex is very well organised. Her emails, basically, she's deleted it before it's arrived.
Yeah,
in her
usually
inbox.
I have a very strict,
Yes.
what emails I'm going to keep, and
Yeah.
if they're not in that category,
Yeah.
delete.
I know that
So Chris is
basically
always like, have you,
anything
know
I
that
said-
email I sent you? I was like, I deleted it, I'm sorry.
Anything I send Alex, I know within about 2 minutes of it
Yeah.
arriving in her inbox, it's going to be deleted.
Or filed away or something.
Or filed. So
Yes.
yes, you are. So do you ever have like free time? Do you schedule
do
in
have
like
free time.
free time?
Free time. Yeah, I don't know actually. It's a good question. I don't
Yeah.
schedule in free time.
Yeah.
But I quite like just to keep an eye on my schedule so that I have free
Yeah.
time, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Uh-huh.
But actually, I think it's not like I probably can share that some of our other staff members actually do schedule in like a free time or like
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, I think that's probably actually a really good idea.
Sometimes called white space.
Yes, white space.
Just in between things, kind of like the space in between things.
I would ask you, but I know you have no free time, so there's no point in scheduling it in.
I'd love to say I'm a great planner, but I'm really not. I kind of just roll from one thing
you're
to the next
creative.
thing. Yeah,
You're
I am
creative.
I'm fairly creative in my nature. So I
And
generally,
by definition, a plan would kind of stifle the
Yeah,
creativity.
of
Is that
course.
right?
That's exactly how it is.
That is trying to
yeah.
be nice here.
I do, if I don't write something down, then I will often forget it.
Right.
Yes, but I'm more of a free-flowing.
Yeah.
My wife is organised, which I think
I was going to say,
is-
if Christine,
yes,
if she's watching
yes.
this,
Christina is organised, which is literally a gift from God, because I'm not really like that. But yes, so life. We talked about life being busy and sort of. Although this is it's one of those things, isn't it? Everyone talks about being busy, but it's not helpful to be using this busy.
I did think about that, and I was like, I think I'd feel busy even if I had nothing to do. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
just the way life.
yeah.
Like,
And I think
there's just so much. I think it's because we've always got stuff, distractions.
There's like a
and
volume, isn't there?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like the internet, it's information overload. Like whether it's
Yeah,
on
exactly.
social media, constantly knowing what everyone
Yeah,
else is
yeah.
up to.
Absolutely,
The
yeah.
news feed all the time.
Yeah.
So I think you feel like I think it's because we're actually quite distracted, and whenever you're distracted, it feels like you feel already a bit overwhelmed. Like it's hard to do stuff because you feel like there's so much in my head. But actually, you don't have a lot. You may not even be that busy.
Yeah,
that's my view, but that might not be.
I feel like there's a tendency for us to say, "Oh, I'm so busy." But sometimes we're not really that busy. It's
if you scaled it down, and like, what do you really need to get done?
Exactly.
You're actually not that busy. But
it's like the prioritizing, isn't it? It's what is the most important things that I need to get done in my day.
Yeah.
But it is a really hard thing because there is so much choice now about what you can do, what you can watch, what you can interact with. So it's often filtering or, And
we can be just like, again, I think it's the distraction thing. Like, if you're at work, like people's kids or family can interrupt them during the day, so we're all much more accessible now. So I think it's more about, you don't just go to a room and you just do one thing for a period of time and then you go and do another, everything's all like blends and merges and you're not multitasking and I think you can just feel much busier.
Yeah, no, I think you're
There's
right.
just a vibe, isn't like the vibe is busyness, isn't it?
Something you brought up earlier I thought was interesting.
You were listening?
I was listening.
Good.
I always listen. Well,
only because you need to write some questions down. I must listen.
As you talked about, sometimes even with a schedule, even if you schedule something in, it doesn't necessarily give it value or give it importance. I thought that was quite interesting.
Yes.
And it's kind of that flip, isn't it? Because if you don't schedule it in, then you're not really saying that this is something that's important to me, or you're not prioritizing it.
Yeah.
But then also on the flip side, if it is in the schedule, but you're not actively putting effort into it, and you're not putting that importance on it,
it's a fine line. There's a very fine line there, isn't there? Like you said, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we were saying, things like scheduling in a daily time to pray or devotion. You made a really good point. So it is, you made a really good point that sometimes we just got to go. We have sometimes got to go through the motions. Like we just got to do that because it's a good pattern. It's a healthy habit.
Yeah.
But the ultimate aim is that we develop a relationship with God through it.
Absolutely.
So there is an element of having a pattern and schedule is good.
Yeah.
But there is also an element of like it's so easy to schedule stuff in and think you've done. So I can do like tick. I've read the Bible today. But then did it really sink in? Did I think about it during the day?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, I don't know what it is. Is it awareness? Is it just being aware that you can schedule in something? And that's often a good thing. But it doesn't mean it's not it's not activity, is it? It's not an activity.
Sure.
It's about, even if you just have that time just to sit and think and be with God or use your imagination or whatever, rather than doing something. It's the being and not doing, isn't it?
Yeah, I tie it into being present.
Yes.
Because there's this whole thing about when you're in a moment or you're doing something, it's being present in that moment.
Yes.
So I feel like when we're in a moment where we're reading something, maybe a daily devotional, or reading a Bible verse, or having time to pray, it's being present in that moment, which I find really difficult because my mind just wanders onto the rest of the day or something that I haven't got done yet, or some practical thing, or I need to get that from the shop later on. It's being present in that moment and saying, God, I want to spend this time on my relationship with you.
Yeah.
And in that moment, what are you trying to tell me through this thing?
Yes.
And how do I feel about this thing? Am I struggling with this thing that I'm reading? Does it feel weird? Kind of, because we talk with people like this, don't we?
Yes.
And we have a conversation. And if we're struggling with something, we might say, "Oh, that's weird," or "I don't like that," or
I see. Really it's a to and fro.
You're almost a to and fro. You're saying if you read something in the Bible that you struggled with, and you thought, "Oh, I'm not sure how I feel about that." Say, oh God, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, you know, exactly. If it's, a really difficult Bible verse or something you read,
to
where
remember
you think,
it's a relationship, and God does actually. I mean, I just talk at God a lot, so you're probably not surprised. But it's to listen.
Yes.
And actually, it's a really good point to say, like, we so often say you need to have quiet time with God, but for some people that is not helpful. Like you said, you may have an active mind.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to go and draw or paint or play music or go and do some exercise or just go out. Or for some people, they actually encounter God more whilst doing something. So the activity side is a positive.
Yes.
Some people really need the quiet and peace and stillness, and some people want to really connect with their mind. Other they like, it's more their heart. So it is very different for each person, isn't it? There's not like a set way to encounter God, but the main thing is we just try and do it regularly. So like a relationship, keep it going every day, and invest in it even when we perhaps don't really understand or get it or whatever, Yeah.
And something Rob said earlier on in the service, just before we came back this way, talking about sacrifice in our lives.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we put the effort into the relationship, because you need to do that with every relationship, don't you? Like for our husbands and wives, we have to put
You give up things.
You give up things for doing that, and you sacrifice that time and your energy to that relationship to make it better and work on it and things. So it's often when we sacrifice something that we see some fruit from it.
Yeah, because it means something. If you're willing to sacrifice, it means a lot to you. Which means you're more invested naturally, aren't you?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
if you say to God, like, "Yeah, I love you, God, but I'm not gonna give up. I'll just slot you in." Rather, you said, like, actually, I'm going to give up something that really means something, or going to make that, because to make space for God will be a sacrifice for a lot of us.
Yeah.
But it means like we are more invested in it, and I think God will respond to that because He loves us, and He'll be it delights Him.
Yeah, absolutely. Had so many people in the chat saying about nature.
Yeah, I know.
They experienced God in nature, and
That's
Maria
really great.
saying she was watching the birds outside her window. Carl saying when he's walking out and about and he's got a worship song in his head, that's when he experiences God.
I find nature actually like getting out for a walk. It's kind of also like not a silent way. It's almost like an unspoken way to hear from God, because you just feel it's something like you just. Well, I guess you're seeing something of Him in His creation. Like when you see a painting, you know something of the artist. That kind of it's more like awe, isn't it, and wonder. Than that kind of like deep, personal, kind of more human-like relationship. It's a different element. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And some people say that's more spiritual, isn't it? More kind of.
Absolutely.
Because everyone can, encounter that awe in nature, whether they believe in God or not, actually, and something really powerful there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So I think we should probably crack on to some next steps.
We should. But thank you for everyone for sharing about how you encounter God. And I
absolutely.
think that's awesome.
And I think we need to encourage each other in that, don't we? We need to continually encourage each other to spend time encountering God and do that together, like whether that's at church or in connect groups. Anything like that. You can tell that we'll talk forever if we just get talking.
But that leads nicely to the next step.
Yes.
So
our first next step,
which is
encounter God. So spend some time. It could be, to begin with, 2 minutes here or there.
Just this week, really.
Acknowledge God in the situation you're in. Talk to Him about it. Just lay your heart on the line, and fire up that relationship, that two-way conversation with God.
I actually, if you heard my talk, this will not be surprising. I set a reminder on my phone every day for 2 minutes at lunchtime, which I don't always do.
Yeah.
And it's literally just 2 minutes. Like I just set the timer on my phone and I sit there for 2 minutes and I just like pause and and I just remember like God's there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because sometimes I can be like lunch and then I'm like straight into a bit of work.
Yeah,
and actually I'm not involving God in it.
Yeah.
So and it's even just 2 minutes of just stilling myself because, and I don't do it every day, but something like that, for example, for me I find does really help me when I do it. Just kind of slows my day and reminds me, like anchors in God again. But anyway, that's just my idea. But
no, that's brilliant. So we've got a day of prayer and fasting coming up, haven't we? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so kind of linked to this theme, actually the theme is Encounter God for the day. On the 24th of February, so that's I think a week and a half away, we're going to have sort of like a church community day of prayer and fasting.
Yep.
This isn't actually, this is something we each do individually, really, so it's not like you have to sign up for something we're doing. But we just really love to invite you all to take part in that. You don't even have to tell us you're doing it. Just maybe decide yourself, okay, I'm going to use that day. Maybe, if you have the opportunity to take the whole day, amazing. Not many people do, but, put aside a few hours, a couple of minutes, maybe use your lunch break and just do something that is going to help you connect with God. So the fasting side is actually that we kind of put aside a distraction, something that we rely on, so that we actually just have that space for God. But maybe it just be going for a walk in your lunch break and a prayer walk. I mean, we're suggesting that actually, or spend a few minutes just sitting with God, or find a new way to encounter Him. And it's just we just think for a community like Rob was sharing, actually we feel that's where God is calling us each to, and maybe it is sacrificing, maybe it's deciding to give something up for God. So and that links into our prayer gathering.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which will be happening that evening, an online prayer gathering with communion. So that's when we're sharing some bread and wine and remember kind of, Jesus and what He did for us and everything. But you do need to sign up if you want to take part in that. And you can do that online or via Church Suite. And the prayer gathering is at 8 p.m. on Zoom on the 24th of February.
Wonderful. So the next thing we're going to suggest is something on Right Now Media.
Yes.
So we have a subscription to this as a church, where basically you can get free access to thousands,
really cool.
hundreds of
The
thousands.
Christian Netflix, we're calling it.
Absolutely,
for now.
Christian Netflix for now. But basically, it's brilliant, and there's a particular one on there called Be Still.
Yes.
That Alex has signposted to us by
Yes.
Brian Heasley.
Heasley, I think it is.
Yeah,
It's really great. It's a
yeah.
new. He recently wrote a book. So Brian Heasley is kind of part of the 24/7 Prayer international sort of organisation that we've done a few.
Yep.
Well, we've linked in with a little bit.
Yep.
They do the Lectio 365 and all sorts of other stuff. But yeah, he's written a book recently called Be Still, which is I think it's a simple guide for quiet time with God.
Brilliant.
But he's also done a video series that is on Right Now Media and probably online and other places.
Mm-hmm.
And the first session is actually is about encountering God. It's sort of in the
brilliant.
busyness
Yeah.
and craziness of life. And I think
Yeah.
each session is about 10 minutes. So
Brilliant.
that'd be really great if we get a Connect group doing that at some point. I think it'd be really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had a look at that this week and it looks really cool.
So if you do want access to Right Now Media, just sling us an email, get in touch via social media. We'd love to help you.
Sling an email.
We'd love to help you get access to that for free, completely free to you,
Yeah.
which is great.
You just need a login, don't you?
Yes,
Get in
exactly. So
touch.
just get in touch and we'll give you the details to register for that. A couple of other things. Alpha. Which is very exciting. So if you want to find out more about the Christian faith, or maybe you've been a Christian for a while, but actually you want a bit of a refresher, or you
Yeah,
just
it's
like to
great.
spend time chatting with other people about faith, then Alpha is a brilliant thing. We run it online over Zoom. So if you want to sign up for that, get in touch. You can get to it via our website in the Connect section under Groups. You can sign up for Alpha there, or again, sling us an email or something via social media. We would love to help you explore Alpha starting in March. So yeah, basically, there's nothing you can't say, and you don't have to say anything at all. And it is very relaxed and chilled. So we would love to see you at Alpha. So what is this next thing, Alex?
There's another next step this week.
Yes.
Something that's been brought to our attention recently
Yes.
that's going on locally that we think is really awesome.
Yes.
So Andover churches together, so all the churches in the area get together every so often. But they're quite passionate at the moment about a sort of initiative set up to help some refugees from specifically, I think, Afghanistan who've come into the area.
Yes.
So there's a cafe in town at a place called The Bridge, and they're going to open the cafe, aren't they, to kind of be hospitable to some of these refugees. And they're looking for a team of volunteers who would be willing to kind of get involved with that initiative, which sounds amazing, actually.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, but we're not giving out any sort of details or numbers, are we? So,
No.
if anyone is interested in that, if you want to be involved in that, get in touch with us and we'll put you in touch with the person who kind of is running that at the bridge. And the bridge is just in the centre of town, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. So we know that it's a horrific story of you know, the Afghanistan refugees and so many coming out seeking refuge and seeking a safe place to just live and be. So this is a brilliant way that we can practically help some of these people that have been, you know, turfed out of where they call home, really. So yeah, brilliant initiative that's going on. We've got some devotions that are starting this week by Ivan called Love Actually, or Actually. So yes, we would love
changed
it
the
if
image.
you. They changed it.
Yeah. Anyway, do I? Is there not another? I feel like the image is different.
No, it's always been that.
Okay. Where's the one with all the cables?
Cables. Oh no, that was the challenge earlier on in the social media
I
thing.
am so behind. Carry on.
Anyway, some great devotions this week led by Ivan. Join us on YouTube or Instagram in the morning, each morning, and I think that's pretty much
And
it.
love is potentially a big theme for the week. With,
Yes, indeed.
Tomorrow.
Yes, however you feel about
Tomorrow being
Valentine's Day,
yeah.
it is a thing that happens in our world. So join Ivan for some.
But the world needs a bit more love.
The world definitely needs love. Definitely. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Chelsea. It has
been
been great. And thank you so much for connecting with us and for getting so involved on the chat as well. It's been
Yes,
really
indeed.
encouraging. And
It's been good.
Have a blessed rest of your weekend.
Indeed. See you next Sunday, same time,
Bye.
same place.